Hello, everyone. Welcome to Moons of Ascension podcast. I'm your host, Jen Berryhill, and I'm really excited about tonight being joined today with Aaron and Tyler from Journey to Truth, along with my beloved companion, Brian Berryhill, who's joining us tonight for a fun conversation. And we're just going to kind of just dive right in because you guys have so much going on. And I'm really excited for the audience here to get to know you guys a little bit more. Plus, you have a conference coming up. So I'm excited to share more about that and find out more. So let's turn it over to you, Aaron. I want to throw you up first and just tell us a little bit about who you are and where you're coming in from. And go ahead and tell us your perspective on how Journey to Truth got started in the first place.
All right. So my name's Aaron. I'm a musician. I've used to play in a lot of like rock bands for a long time. Guitar. Grew up very Christian. And had what I call my awakening back in 2012. When I started going down all these rabbit holes and kind of breaking out of that box. Found David Icke, David Wilcock, Dolores Cannon, Project Camelot, Jordan Maxwell, all these things, and kind of just kept going. So I realized there was abundant evidence that there's life all over the universe, that there's what we would call ETs, both out there and here on the planet, that what we see as like UFOs are a very real thing. And, we have the technology, it's both ours and theirs, blah, blah, blah. Then all the spiritual information, started growing spiritually, and learning about all that. And then I spent about 5 years in isolation, had no one to talk to about any of this stuff. But it's also my fault that I never sought out anything in that 5 years. But I feel like it was almost like an incubation period where I was going through this processing everything and growing. And then I went to my first conference in 2017 in the Mount Shasta area. And that conference changed my life. For the first time ever, I met people in person, made relationships in person with people in this community. And it kind of set me on fire with that. That's all I wanted to do from that point on, was go to conferences and hang out with other like-minded people. And went to Contact in the Desert the next year in 2018. And then I went to a conference in Loveland, Colorado in 2018. And that's the one I met Tyler at. And that was like the sequel to that first conference that I went to. It's called Dimensions of Disclosure. It was like Corey Good and his team kind of put it on. And I met Tyler there, realized we both lived in St. Louis. And so we started hanging out, and I had the idea for the podcast. I brought it up to Tyler, and it just kind of clicked. We're like, yeah, that sounds awesome. Let's do it. We had no idea what we were doing. We just thought it sounded like a really fun idea and a way to kind of get our thoughts out there while having on different guests to all these interesting, awesome people that we had started meeting through these conferences. We're like, let's just try to get on a different guest every week and try to be consistent and do it every week. And we have ever since we started back in early 2019, and it's just kind of been this snowballing ever since. And it's like the universe has been really supporting us since day one. It's never felt like a struggle or like a ton of effort to make this work, or a struggle at all. It's just been we've been so supported by the universe, and it's been very, very synchronistic. And now we're doing conferences, which is mind-blowing to me, and I think Tyler too. That we've gotten this, it's grown to what it has, and that we're doing conferences, and that it's just the biggest blessing ever in both of our lives, I think. So
right.
Yeah, it's been so fun to watch you guys, because we met you guys at ESETI, what was that, 2 or 3 years ago now? And
yeah, I think 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's been 3. And so your podcast, you started 4.5 years ago, and you guys have grown so much. I mean, you've got over 40,000 subscribers now, and you've done over 200 podcasts, interviews, and you guys touch on such a wide range of topics, and you bring on amazing guests that just have mind-blowing information. So Tyler, do you want to jump on and share a little bit about your background and how you're seeing, Journey to Truth being the big part of your life?
Yeah, I'll start with the latter half. It's a huge part of my life. It is becoming my life, as far as it's just a passion project that has grown into something that has actually become sustainable. And it's unbelievable, because that was not the intention at all. And I look back the past 4 years at everything that's happened in my life, and all the people I've met and the amazing experiences I've had, honestly, all stemmed from the podcast and people we've met. And when I really put it into perspective at how much of a catalyst it's been in my life, it's unbelievable, actually. Even friends that I'm with now, I'm like, how did I meet this person? Even my dad and family members, like, and people who he's connected with now in his circle, it's all from, like, they were originally fans of the podcast and they met my dad through me. And it's just, even the people around me, it's like, it's amazing the ripple effect it's having. And so I just can't, you can't ignore that. It's just like, wow. Then sometimes it hits me, and I'm just like, this is amazing. And like, we're hosting these conferences, like Aaron said, that it's just completely mind blowing that many people are actually buying tickets. Like, it's just
Yeah.
like, I don't even know. It's hard to fathom sometimes, but it's really yeah, we're really blessed, and it's been like this well-oiled machine. And I feel like the key has been consistency. We just never let off the gas, and
Totally.
it's been amazing. But I got into this, I guess, whenever I was 24, almost 25, my mother passed away. But don't worry, she's still with me. She's just transitioned. Um,
Her body has passed away, but
yeah, right.
that isn't.
Um, but that was a massive catalyst in my life, as far as prior to that, I grew up in a very Christian and Catholic family as well, but I actually wasn't into it. I didn't I don't know, I was calling bullshit at a young age. Like, not that I knew anything, but I wasn't into it. And is there an audio issue? Or are we good? Um,
I was hearing something.
anyway, um, I just wasn't into it. It was kind of, I felt like it was being forced on me. And I'm just a personality where I just don't take orders very well. And when I have to do something, I don't want to do it. So as soon as I was old enough, I kind of broke free from that and just joined in a new circle, a new group of friends who just happened to be atheists and didn't believe in anything. And I was like, oh, this sounds great. This was way better than what I was in before. So I believe in nothing now. And I just surrounded myself with those people, and I became this false version of myself, and it was somebody I really it wasn't even me. I didn't fit in, so I turned into somebody that I wasn't to fit in, and it was a whole mess. But when my mother passed away, I started having experiences almost overnight, negative experiences. At first, I started getting attacked by things at night, and uh, I levitated out of my bed one evening. I started just having these crazy things happen that
Sleep
forced me,
paralysis.
yeah,
Sleep
sleep
paralysis.
paralysis, yeah. Things that happened that forced me to believe in everything that I didn't believe in. And to, the only way to combat that would be to learn modalities and tools and practices and clearings and healing techniques and all this stuff in order to basically pull myself out of that hole. And it's been an entire journey. We'll be here all day if I tell the whole story, but it really started with my mother passing away, and then Aaron explained the whole podcast thing. And the conference I met him at was my first conference as well.
So would you say that your mom's passing was like a triggering event that opened up something like an emotional aspect, or just like, was there something more to that experience?
Yeah, so prior to that, I had never had sleep paralysis. I never had any like ET, UFO, abduction experiences, nothing like that. I just fell asleep every night and woke up every morning and went on, there was nothing happening at night. And right after she passed away is whenever the very first time anything happened to me, I experienced a levitation. Like I was actually, my TV remote started floating out of my bed, and then I started floating out of my bed, and it was like a mad rush to get back down into my bed. I had to figure it out, and I thought I was having maybe an out of body experience. I didn't know until I saw myself in the mirror while I was in the air, and my body wasn't in bed. Like I was expecting to see my body in bed still. Like this had to have been a dream or something. But I saw my body in the air with the TV remote floating next to me, and that's when I panicked. And this is the first time anything like this has ever happened to me. So I started basically like doggy paddling to get back down into bed. And then when I did, this force, I now know it was an entity or whatever, a shadow person, whatever, but I couldn't see anything at the time. Something basically like spun me around and like locked me up and slammed me down in my bed, and it was on top of me, like holding me down, and I was paralyzed, and I thought I was dying. I had the thought like that somebody was just going to find me dead the next day in bed, and somehow came over it mentally, and I broke free from that. But um, it's been explained to me. I never knew why that happened, and that was the beginning of years of that type of thing happening to me. But it's been explained to me now through sessions and my own healing journey and just tapping in and meditation that there's a couple possibilities, but the one that makes the most sense is whenever someone passes away and we're in that state of grieving, there's actually a fracture in our aura, in our auric field, right? So when there's a fracture in your energy field, it's almost like a beacon of light is shining through that crack out into the fourth dimension, into the astral plane. And these negative entities, they see that like a spotlight, and they take advantage of it. And it's probably a mad race. The first one there gets in. And so it was explained that happened, and it made a lot of sense to me. But then it was also later explained that like they're always, these dark entities, they're always after our soul all the time. That's their game. They're always trying to harvest our energy, and they're after our soul, steal your soul, whatever, to trap it in the reincarnation cycle, whatever they're doing. They were, when my mother passed away, apparently they were going after her soul, but they couldn't get to her, so they attacked me to use me as bait to lure her in, because they knew that she wouldn't be able to stand seeing me getting basically tortured the way I was. And they were trying to lure her in, I guess, to trap her soul again. And this was explained to me years later through a session, a channeling session, whatever. And I don't know if that's true, but it very likely could be true.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always wonder why, like, just why all of a sudden would I start getting attacked? Like, why didn't
The
it make
day
no sense
after
to
your
me?
mom
Yeah.
passes, like the timing is not a coincidence.
Yeah. So was it a catalyst? Absolutely. And like I said, it forced me to believe in things that just were not in my realm at all. It was an entire paradigm shift for me.
Gosh, that sounds really intense. I remember I had a dream one time. I was driving in my car, and it was like a rainy night, and I was like the only one on the road. And it was such a vivid dream. It literally was exactly like this particular place nearby my house, and a ship landed, and an ET came out of the ship, and I went into paralysis, and I couldn't move. And it just kept coming closer and closer to me. And I wanted to scream. I wanted to get out of my car. I wanted to drive away. I couldn't do anything. And this thing just kept coming closer and closer to me, to the point where I was like so suffocated. That's when I finally woke up out of that dream. And
Wow.
it was terrifying. So yeah, I don't know. That just made me think of that dream. But I wanted to bounce over to you, Brian, and let you say hi and throw in some comments and ask some questions too.
All right. Well, cool. Well, hi. Hey, guys. Good to see you. Thanks for coming on, and thanks for asking me to come and be part of this as well, Jen. So appreciate the invitation, and appreciate another chance to just sit down with you guys. First off, again, I want to just reiterate, really appreciate what you guys been doing. I think it's really powerful for anybody that is wanting to move forward and following their passion, following what they're feeling led to do, but can sit there and fill their head with a lot of doubt and a lot of like, oh, well, gosh, we don't know what we're doing, so therefore we shouldn't. Jen
Mhm.
and I were successful. We started um, uh, a shirt business, and we had no idea what we were getting into as well, but we learned as we went, and sometimes that's the best way. And when you're really passionate about what you're doing, your thirst and your drive to figure out those finer points, is a really kind of a satisfying part of the journey. But it's so gratifying when you see the universe back you up. And I think you guys are seeing, a lot of that evidence, just because you're touching on subjects that we've all been curious about and uncovering and stumbling across, whether it's been, in the last 4 or 5 years, or, you guys have interviewed and talked with people that have been around knowing this stuff for 30, 40, plus years. And so, wherever you're at on your journey, I think it's always wonderful to be able to find a place that you can kind of call home and hear the content and the discussions that you would like to have with the regular Joes around you, but you struggle to because you realize not everybody is interested in approaching these topics. It just kind of blows them out. So I applaud you, and the reason you guys obviously have such a good following is because you're doing it good. You flow good, and it's a likable discussion. And so, we got a chance to meet at ESETI. I met you off camera and spent time with you guys away from all of this stuff. And you're just both genuine people. And I know that's why Spirit has your back on this. I think that's, again, the testament to anything that we're doing, that we should go with it, with that. When you feel something, you just move towards it. Spend your time thinking about, allow your focus to rest on it. We're so distracted and have so many things kind of like, tugging at our attention, that damn cell phone, it's something else. And so it's really great when you have something that just really pulls you in that way.
Mhm.
And you guys are touching people and you're getting the message out there. So thank you, and applaud you for that. So it's great.
Yeah,
It's great.
thank you.
Thank you.
And yeah, you nailed it as far as jumping in head first without knowing what we're
Absolutely.
doing, because we didn't, like, there was zero experience. First of all, we had no expectations. We had no grand
Mhm.
plan for anything. It was just
No.
like let's just do this and see what happens. Like I literally didn't expect it to go anywhere or do anything. I had, like, maybe I didn't put any thought into the future of it. That's how little I thought about it. I just, like, we just did one thing and, like, all right, let's do this and see what happens.
It
And I
was
think,
very living in the moment, in the present,
right.
like we always hear about, like, you need to live present in the now. And that's pretty much what we did with the podcast. And it turned into this. So, like, if you want to get into like how manifestation works or creation works, you can only create in the present. So if you're caught up in the future, past, you're stifling, that. And like you
Exactly. You
said,
just went with it.
do what your passion is and what you love. And we had so much fun with it. I feel like that energy kind of like emanated out, it just kind of grew because we were just having a blast with it. And that's it. We
Mhm.
weren't even trying to be whatever. We were just having fun.
And we were both, like, going through the awakening journey at the same time, and we were very
Mhm.
young and naive in a lot of ways, but we were excited about a lot of things. And that, like he said, that excitement is contagious. Energy is contagious. So we were motivated in so many other ways than just, like, doing a podcast. It was like our life's mission, right?
Right.
And then, things have changed. A lot of things aren't what we thought they were. Some things are better than we thought they were. It's just amazing, the journey, the ups and downs, and the ins and outs of everything. And you never stop learning. There's no end goal. Like, I don't think you'll ever reach the end or reach the truth. I think it's just going to be a constant learning process and path of self-discovery until we transition.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, absolutely. And, but along the way, we get to experience some magic. And I think what you guys are doing is showing you some of that magic of the universe, and how we all have gifts. We all come in this life and have something that we're good at, or something that just we feel passionate about it. And if we're not doing those types of things, we're probably really doing spirit and the whole planet a disservice, because we don't understand. We don't know there might be 40,000 people interested in the content that we're discussing. And but if you try to plan that, if you try to put together the right business plan, you might get there. But what I think you guys really just uh, as per this discussion, you guys had an idea. It was the seed, and you put the time into it. You put the passion into it, and that's watering it. You nurtured it. You focused on it. You loved it. And I think that Sunfire Fest is very much the same kind of extension and going in that same direction. So much of what we learned with spending so much time with Chief Golden Light Eagle over the years was that anything that you do, you bring that element in. You pray about it. You see, you see what you're being called to do, and so when this showed up, I got so excited about it. I was just in a time of doing some creating of my own. I was doing some drawing, and I hadn't been doing that in a while. I was drawing with a compass, and I was drawing on graph paper, and on these circles and these ideas and these concepts just started pouring in, drawing the seed of life, the flower of life, how all of these sacred geometries kind of work. And they really can tell a fascinating story if you just spend the time doing that. But what was so significant about when Jen talked about the location of this place down in New Mexico, a place called Tico Time Resort, and we just got a chance to go down there, and it's such a cool spot. I mean, it's right on the river. It's this really beautiful valley coming down south out of Durango, Colorado. I had to drive back up into Durango because we didn't have tent poles in the pack, so I had to go buy a tent. But driving into Durango was, wow, it was really cool, and just kind of a reminder of that area. It's so pristine in that Four Corners
Hmm.
kind of,
Mhm.
and there's something really powerful about it. There's something to me so much more than, oh, they just happen to divide these four states up and into the four directions kind of corner down there. You've got some really significant things between the Aztec ruins. You've got um, Shiprock
Choc- Chaco
is down,
Canyon.
Taco Canyon. Oh, there's just, I mean, we could go on and on, right? There's the Mesa Verde is
I
down
just
in that.
Mhm.
I just did I was just down there in February, and
Tyler was just there.
I went to Shiprock, I went to Chaco Canyon, I went to Mesa Verde, I was in Durango. We stayed in Aztec, New Mexico. So like I'm right where the we were 13 miles from the Aztec ruins. And yeah, so it's amazing out there, and I can't wait to participate in this event. I can't wait. It looks amazing.
Yeah, yeah, I'm excited too. So anyway, thanks for letting me shout out for a minute.
Awesome. Yeah. I was going to ask you a little bit about your visit down in that direction, Tyler, and just, you know, the Shiprock is so fascinating to us. What did you pick up when you were out there?
Uh, I think it's far more significant than anybody realizes. It might be the most sacred place in the U.S., in my personal opinion.
Wow.
Uh, I there's a magic there that just unmatched. It's hard to explain until you're there, and if you're an empath, you feel it. We were with a friend of ours who's a channeler, and she was channeling the ancient language of the people that used to live in that area, that built a lot of those structures. And we were getting some wild information, whether or not it was true or not. Um, it was life changing for me, being there, witnessing that, experiencing that, realizing that it's not just lava magma uplift like the mainstream tells you it is. Like, it's so clearly something else. You know, some people think it's a possible tree stump. We saw evidence of what looked like a wall, like it looked like a built wall. It would just have been so ancient, it's hard to, I mean, there's definitely evidence, like it almost looked like a city. It's so much more than just that one structure that you see. I can't really put it into words, but we had some magical experiences out there. I recommend everybody go there. And there's no like tour, there's no like welcome center or anything. It's just right off the side of the road. And it's kind of out of the way for like, no one's going to stop there on the way anywhere. Like it's just this weird off the beaten path place that could be one of the biggest tourist sites in the world. And like nobody's going there, but I almost think it's a good thing that they haven't
Yeah.
commercialized it.
Wow. Yeah, we haven't made it all the way there. We've been near it. And you know, Chaco Canyon's really incredible as well. You know, it's kind of shrouded in mystery as well. And it just, you can tell there was some things done there to kind of, you know, make it look like it fell apart, you know, and just, you know, it
Right.
looked like a very purposeful hiding of what's really truly going on there. And so,
That's exactly what happened. Yeah.
yeah, and so that's, you know, yet another reason why I love what you guys are doing, what you're doing, because you question things and you know, you get into the areas of, you know, well, what's really going on here? I mean, it really is truly a journey to the truth.
Mhm.
And so when would you guys say, like, what was the first point in your life that you remember where you really started to go, this is not what it really is? Like when you really started to question things. Do you have like a really strong memory of that point in time?
Aaron, I'll let you take it first, and then I'll go. I do have a specific point.
Spring of 2012 when I had my awakening. It would be the first one, and then as far as like in-person kind of experiences, it's kind of like a whole nother, like when I first went to Shasta at that conference, that was my first time seeing UFO or seeing light ships, whatever you want to call them, doing the sky watches every night we'd see them flying around the sky, and I'm like, holy crap, what are those? You know, I'm like, or I've been reading about these things and I've been, you know, watching videos and blah blah blah, reading books, blah blah blah, but like it's a whole nother thing when you get to see in front of you something that's not supposed to exist, right? That's like not in the approved narrative of kind of our mainstream society world that we live in, right? And it was almost like another level of confirmation for me of like, okay, I'm not crazy. I'm not just you know, getting into fantasies that aren't real. Like this stuff is real, you know. Oh yeah, you said he was the next big one, probably because it's just undeniable, as you guys know. Like it's a magical place, you know, that I can't see how anyone could possibly go to a place like that and then walk away not knowing that there was some things going on that, you know, are unexplained at the very, very least, you know, that aren't, you can't just be like, oh, that's just this, oh, that's just satellites, oh, that's just whatever. It's like and then Tyler, you like your Sasquatch experiences that he studied. So it was almost like you were having the firsthand experiences, but I was like right there, kind of like secondhand getting little bits and pieces. And then there was something like the night that you got woken up in the middle of the night by the tree whack and the stomps and the grunts and all that. And then I wake up, you're telling me about it, all excited. I can tell you like clearly something happened. And I see that giant stick laying next to the tree that was not there when we went to sleep. And I can attest to that. I'm like, yeah, that thing was not there. So the only options are somebody at East City was playing a prank on us at 3 a.m. or whatever time it was, which no one owned up to it, you know. Doesn't make any sense.
They weren't, because I unzipped my tent and checked it out instantly.
Oh, that's right. So that debunks that.
Yeah.
So clearly that
whatever
was
it was,
Sasquatch or something. And then you had multiple ones. I remember that first year in I think it was 2019. And I remember I saw orbs with my naked eye. I remember in Kazekiel Hall like multiple times that year. And then the lights every night, there's 30 plus lights flying around and on the mountain and stuff. So yeah, I remember it was almost like every time I'd have some kind of in-person experience like that, it was like further like confirmation and kind of like, all right, this stuff's real. The universe is like, you're on the right track,
So actually for me, it started at a really young age. Well, for one, religion, I kind of saw through that. I don't know why I never really bought into that, but that's an entirely different story. But one thing that even at a young age, I noticed was that politics were kind of bullshit. I just never bought into it. I don't know how to explain it. I didn't know how to explain it to people, that it just didn't make sense. And in my mind, I didn't understand why we needed a government, why we needed politicians and presidents. Like, I guess I just, maybe now looking back, I think I might have had a past life memory of a different way of life. And it just never made sense to me, to the point where I never voted a day in my life all the way up until today. I still have never voted. And a lot of people got mad about that when I used to tell them, well, you never voted. You have to vote, blah, blah, blah. You're the problem, this and that. But now doing the research that we've done and hosting a podcast for 4 years and really understanding the ins and outs of the political arena and how it actually functions, and it's really engineered to be broken. It's not a broken system. It's engineered that way, and it's designed so we're never going to get ahead. It really doesn't matter who you vote for, because it's kind of like Joe Rogan puts it. He's like, it's pretty much like rooting for pro wrestling. They want you to think that you have some impact on the outcome, but really you don't. It's all staged.
They want you to think it's real.
Right.
It's a psyop.
So that was the first for me. Then obviously, as soon as you start, like Aaron said, as soon as you start just like raising your frequency, I guess, and like breaking free from that matrix, and whenever everybody around you's like thinks that something's wrong with you and you need an intervention because you're just starting to wake up to this false illusion matrix that we're living in. I mean, almost instantaneously, everything starts to not make sense. You're like, wow, this is all unnecessary. Everything's a lie. Like, what's real? Like, you just pick something and start asking questions, and you're likely going to figure out that there's never really been a foundation of truth anywhere to begin with. So that's why it's really confusing also right now for a lot of people, because we have never had the foundation of truth to begin with. So whenever we're trying to figure out what's true and what's not, like, we're on unstable ground right now, and people are confused, and everyone's like, all their inner stuff is surfacing and they're trying to deal with that. So it's really interesting what's happening. But to answer your question, it was a very young age whenever I really started seeing through some of it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely for me as well. I never fit in, and I was super sensitive, like very emotionally sensitive, empathic, and that was difficult for my parents, because I was always, throwing tantrums and just always very, very emotional. And, so a lot of the programming came in, just, stop crying, and, I'll give you something to cry, all these things that started to shape my belief systems. And, I feel like having that experience and knowing that it wasn't accepted, that type of level of feeling was not really accepted. It it really shut me down. I think I shut down my gifts. And so I've just been on a big journey to try and awaken my gifts back up again, and change those belief systems, and just and applying that ability to see through the bullshit in a new way. So so that's all part of that consciousness journey. And the awakening is, there's so much going on an inner level, but it's a lot of it is shaped through the reality that we see that we know isn't true. So it becomes harder to really know what the truth is, and having discernment, that's really the name of the game.
Right. It's not even so much discernment. It is discernment, but it's actually getting to know yourself. I think that's the name of the game. Because once you know yourself, you know how your body, you start to learn how your body responds to different information, and everything's frequency, and truth has a frequency, so does deception, so does lies, and your body reacts
Mhm.
differently when it hears both. And to me, that's crucial moving forward. That's why you have to go on that inner journey, because and really raise your frequency, or do whatever it is you have to do to turn
Right.
yourself on, and turn your antenna on, and be that bullshit detector, right? And you can just look at somebody sometimes and just feel their energy. You don't even, and then they'll tell you everything about themselves that you need to know without them even opening their mouths, so, and that's kind of where it is discernment, but the only way to get there is by getting to know yourself. So I think that's step number one.
Mhm.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's a journey that continues on and on and on, doesn't
Does
it?
not end. There is no end to growth
No.
and
No, it's
awakening.
we learn those kind of skills, right? Because those skills are necessary, and they're necessary because they're going to keep coming. Those experiences are going to keep coming, and hopefully we're learning and making wise decisions from our experiences, and making better decisions moving forward. And but yeah, I mean, it's constantly, even like as a contractor, you've walked into a number of situations where, maybe you're like, your gut's telling you, you probably don't want to get involved in this,
Mhm.
and you don't listen to that, and you get in there anyway, and you're like, dang it, I knew better, because now all of a sudden something happened, you're not getting paid, or it's taking twice as long as it was supposed to. And so, you learn to trust that gut, and you have to
Right.
listen to that gut. And when it's telling you something, it's still free will. You still choose whatever path you want. But yeah, if you know yourself and your frequency and your vibration, you're gonna have a lot better clue on, does this feel good or not? And just, trusting that. It's really
Yep.
so much more simple than than it seems.
Right.
Mm,
You, you know,
right.
you bring up an interesting point. I was at a metaphysical fair in early April, I think. Anyway, recently. um and it's at a casino of all places, right? It's interesting. It's that they rent out this like banquet or whatever room, conference room in this casino, and they have a huge metaphysical fair there. And my dad and I went. It's awesome. We went last year, but we went down for lunch, and down into one of the restaurants, and ate lunch. And my dad was like, let's go, throw $20 in this machine real quick just for the fun of it, why not? And I was like, okay, sounds cool. And then immediately my body, my gut was just like, it was like alarms going off.
It was
And
like, no.
well, we were walking over there, and I said, Dad, I hate to do this to you, but I'm doing this new thing where I'm listening to my gut, actually, instead of getting the gut feeling, but going anyway. I said, we shouldn't go in there. Like, I'm not going in there. Like, I know I said I would, but I don't want to anymore. It doesn't, something's telling me not to. And we didn't. And he goes, okay. And we didn't. But whatever it was, like, as soon as we walked through that threshold into the casino, like, it's an entirely different frequency. It's almost like you're walking into like through a portal or something. And I just didn't feel right about it. So anyway, that was just one example of me finally listening to my gut in real time, instead of hearing the warning call and ignoring it, which is what we do
Mm.
a lot of times.
Well,
Mhm,
think about the
mhm.
energy that most people that are at a casino as well. It's just
Yeah.
a whole bunch of those people all in one place, right?
Hmm.
So you're going to be, you're picking up on all that as well, and that's going to be affecting you as well.
Right.
Well, and there's no doubt that these giant, beautiful, elaborate, fancy, casinos are made with that intention.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And that intention is powerful. And then if you know a thing or two about magic and ritual and ceremony, then you can, make it a temple. You can create that portal, that entrance
Right.
Right.
that you do. And so, good on you for listening to your gut, because you never know. You never know what might want to jump on you,
Right.
guards down just even for a second, and I think those are tests too, because spirit wants to give us more responsibilities. But if we can't even listen to the little tasks, how are we going to accept when we get maybe something bigger, thrown at us? And so, and to me, that's why it's like, people want to see these ships come out of the sky, and they want all this evidence right here and in your face now. And we kind of need to be microdosed with this stuff, because it still takes a second sometimes to have an experience and really sit with it and say, wow, did that really happen? And did it happen the way I think it happened? Because that's what I felt, that's what I experienced. But there's still the doubt, there's all the that cognitive dissonance. It's a real thing,
Mhm.
and it's really something to wrestle with. And you can either just blink and just keep moving on, or you can really stop and take that moment and peer in there and see what there is. And so, and I think you guys do a great job, you know, doing that. Carrying not only the listeners, but the conversations and interviews that you have. So, super super stoked and excited that you guys are going to be coming down to Sunfire Fest and doing a podcast from there. And just looking forward to spending that time with you guys both, off and off air. And
Yeah.
I think all we got to do is show up, let the magic happen.
Right. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can't
we're
wait.
gonna talk a little bit more about Sunfire in just a minute, but I have a little bit of a burning question.
Okay.
Because you
Yeah.
guys, you cover such a broad range of different topics, we're inner earth, space programs, Sasquatch, the star seeds and consciousness, and the experiencers. So through all of your podcasting interviews, and maybe focusing more on the recent ones, is there anything that stands out for you guys that we should really pay attention to? Like, is there a theme? Is there something that's presenting that is showing evidence like we're really gonna make it through this shift? And like, what would you say is like the big thing right now that you're noticing?
I'll take this just because something popped into my head. For one, a theme, it's not doesn't necessarily have to do with the podcast, but this is something I'm noticing is the false light is really making an effort right now. Things aren't what they seem. And that is coming up actually, I guess, in a lot of episodes. There's a lot of information being thrown around right now, and there's people coming forward who aren't who they say they are, and they aren't who we think they are. And they're gonna, the devil never shows up as the devil, right? So there's a lot of false light, I think, in these end times, whatever you want to call it, the end of this era. I think it's a last ditch effort right now to, there's moves and counter moves every day. So I think their counter move right now is to trick as many of us, deceive as many of us as they can with false information, false hope, that type of stuff. So in that regard, that's something that's been coming up a lot. And I see Aaron nodding his head. I think he agrees.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Same.
and
Absolutely.
then I think another one is don't give your power away. Like, don't like no one's just gonna come and save us. Like that's one thing that we've seen over and over, a theme throughout the years is that there's always like somebody out there, they're laying this date down or this event is gonna happen then, and then we're all gonna be saved, or just everything's gonna shift immediately. And it's becoming more and more apparent that that isn't gonna happen. But it could. I'm not saying that it can't. We don't know. We can't predict the future. But at the same time, I do think that there are helpers here. There's our, our star family and the ET helpers and whatever that looks like, angels, spirit guides, whatever term you want to use. I do think there is an army here helping us and assisting us day in and day out. And they're there waiting for us to ask for help. We just have to ask because they can't infringe on our free will. So as far as that goes, I do think like everything looks very negative if you look at the 3D surface level situation that the planet is in right now. But it's everything's coming to the surface to be purged and set free. And I think we have to go through some dark times before we come out the other side, which is a golden age. So I do think we're on that trajectory. I do think that is the future. But right now, I think everyone really needs to stay in their own lane, like I said, and get to know themselves, because you really don't know what to believe anymore, and you can't trust your eyes anymore. And we're getting ready to do a webinar about like deep fake technology, masks, clones, body doubles. Everything is an illusion. Movie magic isn't just for Hollywood. So you can't trust your eyes. So you need to learn how to see with your heart. And what does your heart tell you? And I think that's a key theme right now, is like just seeing with your heart. And Aaron, you can add on to that if you want.
Very well said. All of that. I second all of that. Yeah. I think there's, the premise of the question first of like, are we going to make it? I mean, first you got to understand, it's like, oh, well, what does that mean? Because if you understand this physical body is not who we really are, it's just a temporary experience we're having. And we are multidimensional beings. Death is an illusion. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. You understand all these concepts. We are basically God experiencing itself in a point of awareness. The soul will go on after this lifetime. And if you believe in the whole starseed thing, which I do, we've had many other lifetimes as other star ET races. Not to say anything of lifetimes on this planet. And there are so many beings here now. Starseeds are beings that have incarnated at this time, because we're at this very important shift, this very important time of change on the planet, where it's like, to me, I see this like split happening, where I see the dark, everything's coming to the surface. So all the darkness, all of the stuff that used to be more buried, it's all coming to the surface. And it's almost like everyone's being given a choice of, okay, it's time to decide, do you want to go down this more negative path where you're gonna have to deal with a lot of not pleasant things, or are you are those lessons not you're way beyond all that, and it's time to level up, basically. And on a soul level, I think that's all being decided by every being on the planet right now. And at the same time, you have all the darkness and everything coming to the surface to be seen and dealt with, felt and dealt with, and transmuted. So it seems like things are getting worse on the surface level, like you were saying, but that's only on the surface 3D manifested level, which is really the last layer of manifestation. It's kind of like the most dense, and the least real is another way to put it. You'll hear a lot of people have had like near-death experiences, or have an experience on the other side. You then realize how this physical 3D reality is the least real. It's like, when you die, it's actually, you're in a greater, more real reality. So we're kind of seeing all the falseness, all the dark, nasty stuff kind of all being shown to us and to be cleared and acknowledged. And I think that's a good thing. A lot of people are seeing that and are getting scared. They're in doom and gloom mode. They're like, oh my God, everything's going to shit. And, fear of we're all going to be killed off or enslaved. And that's what the cabal wants. That's what the control system wants. Obviously, they say it openly now. They're not even trying to hide it anymore, which is, to me, another good sign that, if things were smooth sailing, if they didn't think they had anything to worry about, they wouldn't be blatantly, or maybe some of them think that, and that's why they're saying it. But things wouldn't be as crazy as they are if things were smooth sailing, and the dark control system had nothing to worry about, and we're going to be experiencing that reality. I do not believe that for a second. But things are getting stirred up right now, so it seems like it's getting worse, but it's actually a really good sign, in my opinion, that the old is kind of like getting shaken up to go away, and is trying to cling on for dear life, in these last dying breaths that it's taking, and the news coming in, and I see beautiful things happening all the time. I see people awakening like I've never, even 11 years ago. There's so many more people awake now, it seems like, and there's so much more light coming in, and people more people are waking up than ever before, and more people are connecting to their soul than ever before, and opting out of this like false control system. And I can see the control system, how scared it is right now, and that it's freaking out, and it's trying to like do everything it can to somehow keep people suppressed and keep people enslaved and mind controlled and all the rest of it.
Getting to that tipping point.
Right. It's like a tipping point, right? But there's so much light on the planet right now. It's already game over. It's just now just now playing out. And if you're not, and I've believed this for a long time, like if it's not your time, you're not gonna die. You're not gonna go. And it's really that simple, because you have a mission. You're here for a reason. You're not just here randomly or for no reason. You're here for a reason.
We're here right now. That's not an accident. The time,
right.
Everything going on right now, that's not an accident. And
right.
And we can look at it as it's a bad thing or a good thing, or weird or indifferent, but whatever it is, we signed up for it, right? And we got to show up to find out, and we're here. We all showed up. And I think one of the things that I've kind of just listening to you guys reflecting on, what are the cracks of hope? Are we seeing that? Are we seeing what is this old way that what we're seeing kind of crush? And it seems like what we're really seeing is this illusion, this hypnotic illusion we've all been under, the all this media and news that we've been spoon fed since the day we were born is trustworthy and in our best interest. And of course it's honest, and there's no agenda behind it. They wouldn't really want to lead us to believe this or that or the other thing, so like really when we're seeing we're ripping the veils off of what's going on in the media, again, it's like such one of the refreshing things that we do have about today, technology, guys like what you guys are doing, because you're out there at least holding a platform where if somebody's like tired of what CNN or Fox is telling them, I don't know that I believe this. I don't know that I believe that. Maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle. I just would like to have, like listen to some guys that are having just an honest discussion, that aren't sitting there just trying to push a narrative or an agenda on me.
Right.
And as soon as you start catching into that, you hear it in everything, every channel. I mean, and gosh, we watched cable. We watched a cable movie at a hotel the other day. You guys, that's the first time I've seen any commercials, cable commercials. I mean, I was shocked. I was so shocked at the push and the agenda of just normalizing so many things that 10 years ago just, was a concept. 20 years ago, anybody like trying to push that would have just been chased out of town. It's just so extreme and so fast. And and maybe it's just my circles. It doesn't seem to reflect that big of the percentage of the population for the ratio that I was seeing. And it's just really, as a parent, I'm like looking at this world that my son's coming into, and he's got the technology, in his hand, and has for years, that we never had up until, just our recent past. And so how do you navigate that? How do you parent? How do you,
Right.
we're still figuring out that this information that we've been indoctrinated with isn't been good for us. And they're drinking from a fire hose with this stuff.
Right.
So
Right.
how do we reel it in? But again, I think the reality is people are waking up, and they're digging. Not good with just here's the face truth. Oh, okay, good enough. I'll just keep going on my business now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like the harder they push, the more people wake up. The harder they push, the more people wake up.
It's just,
And I think kids I do see, like I see it, what you're saying. They're getting indoctrinated. They're getting all this crap thrown at them, and a lot of them are falling for it. But I think a lot of that's going to be temporary, and I think at some point, they're gonna start growing up and realizing, like, wait a
The
second,
pendulum can only swing so far in one direction, right? I mean, it
right.
has to come
It's
back.
got to
But
snap back.
when was common sense a left or a right concept?
Right, right,
Right.
right. It's common sense, and thinking for yourself is not a political concept. It's a
Probably.
human.
I'm surprised they're not saying that common sense is politically incorrect now. You can't say.
Right.
Thinking for
You're
yourself
racist if you're using common
yeah.
sense.
Right. That's funny. But you know what it is? The
Right.
reason that they bombard us with lies every day is because they want us to believe things that aren't real. They want us to believe in a reality that actually doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And that goes for all belief systems. And Max Spears used to talk about this. He's one of my favorite whistleblowers, but he said every belief system that's on this planet at this time, according to his information, it's all a thought. Each one is actually a thought prison. It's a belief system. It's like a program. And he said that it doesn't matter that he goes, there's hundreds of them, there's thousands of them.
No matter which one you pick.
It doesn't matter which one you pick, as long as you
Mhm.
believe in something or one of them, they're happy because now
And
you're
stay locked into that belief
you
system.
stay locked in. And then he said
prison.
and then he described each belief system being like a ring around a planet, like kind of like a Dyson sphere type of thing. And he said there's so many rings around the planet, so many belief systems, that it's literally a thought prison. And we're imprisoned by our own thoughts and our limiting beliefs. And that's like the ball and chain that holds us back. So
Mhm.
that's the hardest thing. And that's why they constantly want you to believe in something, because as long as you're believing in something, you're giving your power away to something, and you're never really going on that path of self-discovery, and you're never going to tap into your true potential and what you're capable of, because you don't think that you're capable of it. You think this higher person or being that you've put on a pedestal is only capable, and you need them. Really, it's you that has all the answers, and it's you that with all the power, and that's the biggest trick. So it really comes down to that. Like the propaganda is so that you believe in a reality that doesn't exist. And when you believe in that reality, then you're never going to know who you are, because you're literally living in a false matrix.
It's basically
your
like being
own guru.
hypnotized. Right.
Yeah.
You got to become your own guru. You got to become your own authority. You got to become a sovereign being. That's what sovereignty is. It means you are your own authority. No one's above or below you. No one's above or below anyone. But if you give your power away to someone or something outside of you, now you're making whatever that is into your authority, and you're literally giving your power away to, or that belief system or that person or that institution or whatever. And that's been the whole trick. That's been the whole game throughout the whole enslavement of humanity, is they've tricked us into giving our power away into belief systems, into authorities, governments,
And
religions, politics, institute, you name it, and keeping us in this almost a state of like hypnosis or sleep, where we don't even think there's anything outside of that. We identify with our belief systems. We identify with this false version of ourselves. That's the ego. That's not who we really are. We identify with our name, where we're born, our religion, our job, what we do. And none of those things are you. It's just an experience you're having.
Mm-hmm.
But you are, as David Icke puts it, you are infinite consciousness. So it's pretty laughable to think that infinite consciousness can be controlled or put in a box.
mm-hmm.
Or have a belief system or have a religion or any of this stuff. It's like, no, you're doing that to yourself. And then, like Tyler was saying, so what the system does is it creates these prisons that are all mind prisons, and then we start policing ourselves. We do all the work for them. Mm-hmm. Until enough of us start waking up and taking our power back, and then it's game over, because now they don't have any minions, any people to to do all the work for them, and they can't do anything on themselves. They're these magicians hiding behind the scenes, pulling the strings and putting out what they want us to create, and then we create it for them.
Exactly. They
Rather
need
than
us.
them actually doing anything. They're not really doing it. They're just putting out suggestions. They're putting out and they know the esoteric knowledge of, and they're using it as black magic rather than for good. And they're of course taking full advantage of that, of course, you know, because they know the vast majority of us have no understanding of how energy works or any of that stuff. So
let me interject real quick.
Go for it.
A perfect example of that, how they need us to create their reality for them. The whole CERN thing that just recently happened, when they were going to turn on CERN on a certain day, and there was this theory, this information going around that they were going to open up this dark portal and let these entities through, right? I mean, this is like spread worldwide like a wildfire, this narrative. And people believed in it, and didn't matter what truther, what alternative media you listened to or turned on, everyone was talking about CERN and this portal that was going to open on this day and let in negative entities. Well, the reason that they put that out there into the collective consciousness is because they needed us to create that reality. They don't have the power to just do it with CERN and their small little group of people doing a ritual. They need the masses involved. They need the masses to co-create that. So when something like that gets put out into the public, to the collective consciousness, it's by design. It's no accident that that information just all of a sudden is everywhere and everyone's talking about it. That's because they're trying to manifest that event, and they need us to do it because they're not actually powerful at all. We're the ones with all the power, and our thoughts create a reality, and they know that. They know us better than we know ourselves, unfortunately. And another thing that they want us to give our power away to is fear, and fear death. You know, you would never get the jab if you weren't scared to die. Like and that's the whole thing. If as long as they can keep you in fear and scared of basically everything. You know, some people won't even travel right now because, the world's so dangerous. But when I travel all the time, and guess what? The world's not dangerous at all. It's actually beautiful. And it looks
still nice people out in the world.
Right. It looks nothing like what they show us on TV. Like I mean, yeah, there's some areas like the border crisis and whatever. There are areas that are going through turmoil and hard times. Like it's obviously some of that is real, but they only isolate that on TV. Like this is such a big, massive planet.
They make it seem like that's all that's happening, right?
Right.
It's like
hyper focus on this micro, you know.
Right.
And then you feed your energy into that, and then you're manifesting that. That's
get
the whole
upset.
game.
Now you're giving it your attention, and now you're going to click on the very next program that talks about the exact same thing, and you're going to mow it over.
Yep.
Do
and
about
they've got
it.
you hook, line, and sinker.
Because you're not in a good vibration when you're stewing on it like that. You know, so that's that that lower frequency. You know.
We're at such a great time of good, you know, like high levels of consciousness, just having this conversation, knowing that that's what's really happening, is that they're feeding us an idea and we're just fueling it and manifesting it for them. And so I figured that's like the perfect segue because, you know, for me, being out in nature, it has to be something that is like such an important part of how we create our reality. We have all these platforms, all these social medias, all these devices. We've got VR, we've got phones, we've got the computers. I mean, it's just like we're bombarding our own selves with all of this technology. And, you know, it's just, for me, I'm finding that I'm actually like drowning in it a lot. And if I don't take time out of my day to go sit outside and breathe fresh air and look in the sky and watch the clouds and listen to the birds and connect with the trees, or, you know, go for a walk and get my body moving, I'm in trouble, you know, and I just find myself even more attached to my devices if I don't take breaks from that, you know. So here I am at my ripe old age, and I have to literally treat myself like the child and say, Jen, get the hell out of here and go outside for a while. And so combining the aspect of nature with the aspect of the power of thought and group thought, you know, here, you guys are creating your conference, and we're also creating SunFire Festival. And when that vision came through to do SunFire Festival and what it was going to manifest as, you guys literally like were the first people I thought of to be part of this event with us. And a big aspect of why that came in so strongly was because I think we need to also share one-on-one or in a group setting, our ideas of what we would like the future to look like and how we can move into new directions with the change. And so I think it's good that we have a platform to talk about our ideas and our experiences, our dreams, our visions. And so inviting you guys to come to SunFire Fest, I was so excited at the idea of the Experiencer Lounge. And you guys had talked about this when I think when I was with you guys up in ECETI, you mentioned that you did something similar like that at the Camp Disclosure event. And you said it was a really good time and you were getting some great information from people that wanted to share some experiences and dreams and such, and that you were filming some of these experiences, but something happened. And I think maybe you even lost a lot of that footage or something. But could you just describe for us what that vision is of bringing the Experiencer Lounge to SunFire Fest?
Well, first of all, the Experiencer Lounge is amazing. Like, it's basically, we just set up a tent, we create a fun, high vibe place to hang out, come kick it, whatever. It looks different every time at every event. We make it unique for each event. But we just let people who, people come out of the woodwork for these festivals. Like, they come out of isolation, I should say. They come out of isolation to these conferences.
Like I did.
Yeah,
6 years ago.
to these festivals, and everybody wants to share their stories to people that aren't going to think they're crazy, right? And sometimes people want to like get excited about doing it on camera because we're going to record them and then we upload it onto our channel, our podcast, and if they, we get their permission first, and we just compile them together, and it ends up being amazing. Everybody has an amazing story and something to tell, and you never know, like, everyone holds a piece of the puzzle. And these people that might just seem like the everyday average person, that might have this profound thing that happened to them that's going to impact however many people that story reaches once we upload it. And it just proves that, and that person that thinks that they're not on their mission, and they share that story, they're making a huge impact and creating another ripple effect that's going to go forever. So I think that each event we go to is just going to bring a different level of that each time. I think new energies come in, and we're obviously we're a lot further along than we were the last time we did this. So I think it's going to be really interesting, and I'm excited at the opportunity to do it. And just the location itself looks amazing. I love the outdoor events. It's just the way to go, in my opinion, or just at least in nature somehow, So thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
thank
going to
you
be a
so
lot
much.
of fun. And so the SunFire Festival is happening at a place called Tico Time RV Resort. And it's this beautiful 90-acre resort that it's literally like right next to the Animas River. So we've got the mountains, we've got the water, we've got this amazing earth where this festival is taking place. There's a lot of sand and just these amazing rocks everywhere. I wanted to take so many of them home with me. But and the sky watching was incredible when I was out there last weekend. It's so crisp and clear. You almost couldn't identify certain constellations because you could see all the stars in the sky.
Right.
Wow.
I saw some
That's
fun
amazing.
activity up there too that was like, okay, they're here,
They're
and
here.
this is going to be really fun. I had an opportunity to go up on the back side of the resort, just on the hill up there in the mountain, and sit and pray and sing some songs and just really like set the intention for what we're there to do and ask for those land spirits for their permission. And it was just such this warm, fuzzy feeling that just washed over me. Like, we're going to be so blessed with just amazing support as we come together and really harness that beauty of having a focused intention for the change that we want to see. And so I'm really happy you guys said yes and want to be part of this with us. And yeah, it's going to be amazing. So that's coming up this August. So the dates are August 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th. And those details are on sunfirefest.com if you guys want to hear more about that. But I also want to talk to you guys quickly too about your conference coming up, because that's like next Monday. And you've got an opportunity for people to still buy tickets and also get the live stream pass. So tell us who's going to be there with you and what you guys see is going to happen.
Well, not you guys. No, I'm
Unfortunately.
no, I'm joking. It's going to be amazing. So last year, obviously, we did a secret space theme conference. This year, it's more of a broader spectrum. We're just encompassing all things awakening,
Everything.
disclosure, spirituality, everything, right? And we have, man, I could go through the list. I gotta think about this.
Brad Olson, Tony Rodriguez, Samuel Chong, Margie K, Sherry Div Bands, Abby Lynn, Jessica Jones, Barry Littleton, Brooks Agnew. I think that's it.
And Geraldine Orozco.
Geraldine Orozco. I miss her.
Wow.
Right.
Jock Doubleday.
Jock Doubleday, yeah. And you might not know who a lot of those people are, but I can assure you they all have some amazing information to share. And some of the topics we're going to get into and some of the themes this year I'm really excited about. And one in particular that's coming up from a number of speakers, it turns out that this concept that planets are actually built instead of naturally formed, and they're like intelligently designed and terraformed in a way, and like the mountains and the riverbeds aren't actually natural, but they're created. And it sounds pretty out there and pretty wild, but we're actually going to bring some compelling information forward. Not we, but some of our presenters talking about this, including Tony Rodriguez. Part of his part of his testimony that he never shared because it was just so much was when he literally was brought into this program that they called Star Maker, where they were literally building stars, building planets. And he explains that entire process. And he didn't know that Jock Doubleday was going to come and talk about the same exact thing, but from his own research, being an archaeologist and just putting these pieces together and like nothing makes sense, this had to be built. And it's just really interesting, that concept, the Hollow Earth concept. There's so many themes I'm excited about: Sasquatch, remote viewing, cryptids, you name it. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, you guys aren't scared at all to go down some of these awesome rabbit holes. I love that.
Oh, we love the rabbit holes.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So how do people find how do they get onto your Streamlined or your
that would be good information, right? Journey to truthcon.com. All the information is on the website. And it's May 22nd through the 25th are the actual dates. And there are 1-day passes, 4-day passes. So if you think you can make it last minute, come on out. But if not, live stream passes are available. And the live stream experience is going to be really awesome this year. I'm excited about it. Our sound tech audio guy is amazing. And he really goes above and beyond. And I really think it's going to be an awesome experience this year.
Right on. Well, we wish you guys an amazing event. We wish we could be there, but we'll be watching on live stream for sure. And yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing you guys with us at SunFire Festival. We're going to have lots of music, some aspects of dance. You know, we're going to bring in the fire dancers, and we even have some folks coming that are going to do like peace dances and Sufi dances, where we're anchoring in energies and like putting them into the earth
Nice.
through like that connective heart space. and lots of ceremony. So a big aspect that I think that sets this festival apart is that we're going to be doing a lot of different types of ceremony. We have a lot of Indigenous elders coming from the area. So we've got Pueblo, Ute, Navajo. We're also going to bring our dear friend Jim White, who's a Lakota, Sundance Chief, Yuipi Man, and we're going to do lots of singing, lots of drumming, and have a lot of great workshops going on too. So we would love to just have everybody join us at all of these fun events we have going on.
I'm hanging with cool people with
Mhm.
cool experiences, and you know, part of that journey to the truth that we're all on is you know, these morsels are out there, and when we come together in these places, we meet like-minded people, like you guys met each other, and we've met so many incredible people along the way as well. And yeah, it's changed our life, and we're a big family now, you know. And it's so nice when you go from feeling so isolated, once you've like uncovered this truth, and now, you know, nobody relates to you, and then all of a sudden you find your family where everybody's like, oh yeah, I get that, oh I've seen that, you know. Oh
Right.
yeah, he's touched Sasquatch 5 times before. So what? Really?
Right.
All,
Right.
But
like
it's
all the
cool. It's
weirdos
fun.
find each other, and it's a
Yeah.
big happy family. Yeah.
Right.
Thank God, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
also it's nice, you know, you just show up as you are and everybody loves you and accepts you. You know, we're all so different and have a unique energy signature that, you know, it's fun to be around. And as we're doing that, getting together, we're activating each other, we're activating our cellular memory and lighting each other up. And it just opens the door
Right.
for us to carry that further out into the world as we leave those experiences and have more extended family that we can call, you know, brothers and sisters. And so, yeah, it's going to be good. Awesome, you guys. Well, thanks so much for joining us tonight on Moons of Ascension, and can't wait to talk with you again, and maybe we can find out more, you know, after the conference that you guys have. Just, you know, put some highlights up and share that too. So we'll keep the good stuff flowing.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. This was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, cannot wait for SunFire Festival. It's going to be incredible.
Mhm.
And it's going to be
Cool.
Right on, you guys.
so,
All right,
Yeah, great.
awesome.
thank you so much.
Great
We'll
to
put-
see you guys.
I'll put the links and everything in the comments for the video, and definitely reach out to any of us if you have any questions or need more info. Otherwise, we'll hopefully see you all this summer. All right, take care.
night.
Yes.
Yeah.